Okay. Do exactly what you just did and do it again. Be weird.
Episode 3.
That's not what you
Welcome
did.
back.
That's not
It's
what you
not.
did. Do it again. Do it again.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 3.
That was kind of you kind of like are doing like a Christian Piles.
I think we should
All righty, folks. We're
we
pro
should
wrestling.
we should copy that sound clip, save it, and put
Oh,
it at the
I'll
start
just
of
do it.
every video.
I'll just do it right now.
We've got our version of Flow Radio Live going today, and it's going to be a good one, everybody. We've got let's start with the All-Star Classic results, Brian. That was freaking sick. If you watched the last episode, you know that Brian and I did a little pick'em contest. Each of us got to pick. The other person automatically got the other person in the match. And it came down close, but I ultimately beat Brian out of the 15 matches. And there were some upsets in the All-Star Classic that I did not expect. So it was pretty good. What'd you think of the duel?
Well, to be fair, I was not like entirely serious with my. I was kind of just throwing out those picks casually. So I think if we like bet something next time, then it'll be a little more meaningful. Like we can bet like push-ups or like a common thing we'll do with me and Franciotti. We'll bet mat returns.
Okay, I like that. One thing
Let
our
me
coaching
ask you
staff
guys, can we
does,
do a segue?
a segue.
Not like the scooter, but like a
Oh,
segue.
yeah.
I don't know why they're called the same thing,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They're totally different things.
like a detour.
Yeah, one's for transportation, one's
One's a way to go.
oh, I kind of can see the resemblance now.
What if you took a segue?
On a segue.
A segue. All right, so segue. What was I saying? Oh, would you rather do 50 mat returns or get mat returned 50 times?
Who's Matt returning me?
You're the best guy to ask, actually. You're the best guy to ask. Riley Roscoe is mat returning you at the end of practice.
Yeah, that sucked. It depends. So who am I Matt returning?
Like you're a high school coach and there's high school wrestlers.
Okay.
Would you rather get mat returned 50 times by your wrestlers, or would you rather mat return them 50 times as a loss of a bet?
I'm Matt returning 50 times.
That's harder, right? Picking somebody up.
Yeah, but
yeah, dude.
But
I live in like I don't know. I feel like I'm on crazy pills sometimes, man. Like it was never mind.
I know you mean though, because I'm not gonna let someone Matt return me 50 times. That's the thing. I mean, unless it's like Kyle Snyder. Like, I don't want to get Matt returned by Kyle Snyder 50 times, but I don't know. Getting away might be kind of hard.
It's a leg workout, you
Yeah.
know, and you just have to keep bring everything up to protect yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably less on your body to get, I don't know. You're not going to get tired getting Matt returned, but you could get hurt.
No, it's hard getting up. It's hard getting up. That's hard on your legs.
I mean, if they're, yeah, I'd rather do the 50 Matt returns. Give me the over.
Give you the over?
Yep, I'll do more.
There's no odds.
No, I'll give me the over.
I think if you're watching this and you know what we're talking about, leave a comment, okay? Because this has been a personal I don't want to say issue because that sounds maybe more dramatic. But leave a comment. Would you rather get Matt returned 50 times or Matt return somebody 50 times?
It's a conflict within Brian, and he needs reassurance, is what we're at.
Well, no. So I'm, okay. So I try to practice like stoicism and like just being like just calm, and not like reactive. But then like sometimes I just get going, man. And like I don't know. I just get like I can't let it go. I can't let it go.
No, I've been there. But anyways, back to the All-Star Classic and how you said let's make a bet next time. We also do on our staff, we do burrito bets. So it's like if you lose the bet, you owe me a burrito, and I can cash that burrito in any day, anytime.
How about
So,
I'll just I'll buy you a burrito here and I'll send it to you.
well, I don't want your 3-day-old burrito.
It's not gonna take 3 days. I mean, I'll FedEx it, Express. It'll be there overnight.
It might just leave the sauce on the side so it doesn't get soggy
I don't. Do you think they'll ship food like that?
if you don't tell them.
Just put it in the box. It's like,
Is there
why
anything
does
liquid,
oil smell
fragile?
so good?
They always ask you, is there anything liquid, fragile, or chemical? Nope.
It's just like when you're doing your physical. It's like, do you have any problems in the knees? No. Any problems in the shoulders? No. Do you have trouble sleeping? No. Do you have trouble breathing? No.
Exactly.
Do you get
Exactly.
tired when you exercise? No.
Um, so All-Star Classic, what did you think of the duel?
Um, you know, I was really impressed with. I was really impressed with Penn State. There was Sorochi, Brooks, and Kirk Levitt, and man, dude, they're so good. And
They're
and
so
they
good.
wrestled good guys, and they really kind of um like distance themselves,
Yeah.
right? And it's interesting because especially like Sorochi and Brooks, they don't really do anything crazy. You know, they really good fundamentals. They chain their scores well. They wrestle through positions, and they're tough. And they find ways to win. You know, Kekaisen with Brooks. I mean, Kekaisen's somebody that wrestles really hard. You know, I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but he really distanced himself, which was impressive.
Yeah. I think he had what, 5 takedowns. I mean, it started getting away there at the end. And then Kekeisen gets that last like 10-second double leg takedown to give himself his, I think that was his only offensive points. And yeah, I mean, you're right though. You hit it right on the head. Is Penn State looks ridiculous. And we didn't even see RBY. We didn't see some of their stud freshmen.
Facundo, we didn't see Shane Van Ness, we didn't see Bo Bartlett. I
Yeah,
mean, those aren't their best guys. I mean, Roman Bravo Young is, but uh, uh, I will say this though, this is also the beginning of the year. It's
yeah,
also the beginning of the year. You know,
it's
you
early.
win All-Star Classic, great, but you want to win at the Nationals. That's the whole deal. So, uh,
Facts.
yeah.
I was also really impressed with well, actually, let's talk about who I wasn't impressed with. Iowa.
Who were you not impressed with?
I was not impressed with Iowa.
Yeah.
So we had Cassiope and who lost to Kirk, obviously. And then we had what was it, Rocky Elam from Mizzou and Jacob Warner. And yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I
Elam's a good
picked,
wrestler.
what's that?
Elam's a good wrestler.
I know, and I picked him to win in our pick'em contest. I picked him to win.
But did you pick him? Did you pick him because you felt like he's like a good wrestler, or just Warner on paper is a better wrestler, but is just gonna find a way to just mess it up?
I picked Rocky because I believed he has made more progression since last year's nationals than Warner. Like when I watch Warner, guy was a national finalist and he knows how to win, right? He just gutted out like a win against Penn the other night. He was like winning 8-1 or 9-1, and then he gets turned like 2 times, almost 3
That made
times.
me so mad. That made
It
me
was
so
terrible. It
mad.
was painful to watch, but it's like he found a way to win. But it's like, just if you're a national finalist, I feel like you should start separating yourself from the pack, kind of like Keegan O'Toole's doing from Mizzou at 165. He is separating himself from the pack at that weight class. I mean, the only guy he just wrestled Dean
Many.
Hamity
Yeah.
and beat him 7-1. Like, and that guy's ranked like what, fourth? And so it's, he's just separating himself from the pack. You expect the same from a guy like Warner, and he's not really doing it.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Warner's style is one that's super dynamic, where he's hitting all these attacks and angles and cradles and stuff like that Keegan O'Toole
Fair,
does. And
fair,
it's a kind of a different weight class where the wrestling is a little bit different. There's a
true.
lot more weight, there's a lot more strength involved, and just generally upper weight wrestling is more about like battling for inside control and collar ties. And I think Warner's style is kind of like, I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but kind of like this stereotypical Iowa style where we're just kind of like pushing, a lot of pushing. and not necessarily
Yeah.
a lot of scoring.
Yeah. A lot of hand fight in your face.
Yeah.
But he also got turned 2 times with a cross wrist tilt. And
I
it's
think
like
I think it might have been more than that. I think
it, it was
it might
two
have been
sets of
three.
four.
It was two
And
fours and
then
a two, and
there
then it was
might have been a
11-8,
two in there.
right?
No, I think the
Like the
two
third.
got waved off. He got a four, and then he got a two, and the two was waved off, I think, to time. But yes, I mean, still, I just, as a national finalist, you can't be getting cross wrist tilted. It might
Yeah.
happen once. It should not be happening almost 3 times in the same match. Now, give it to that Penn guy. He's obviously a stud on top.
I don't even remember his name. What's his
No,
name?
I don't either, but I'm going to be following him because that guy's mean with wrists. But yeah, no, I mean, Iowa kind of disappointed. And then I think my match of the night was Austin Gomez and Sasso. That was
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. Gomez, dude, Gomez is a fun guy to watch. I'm glad he came back. I know those concussions. I mean, there's a couple things I don't mess with. I don't mess with knees. I don't mess with concussions, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's cool that he's back and he's an entertaining guy to watch. Like big throws. I think when he wrestled, Sasso, he tried to go for like a big throw right away, and I think he kind of landed on his dome a little bit.
Yeah, he did some crazy move and then but then he goes into those leg attacks later in the match and it's like this guy's got such a mixture of offense. He can go upper body, inside trip, headlock or chest to chest, but then he can also hit a quick knee pull single and get to the outside like insanely quick.
Well, when you're that high profile of a guy that has like big moves like that, like people are gonna be like, okay, like watch out for this throw, and
Right.
that's why I think, Dylan Ness,
Mhm.
like his last year, he probably wrestled the most fundamental out of his entire career, and he made the finals again. You know, so I think it's just like you want to stick to your fundamentals, and then that's going to open up those big moves for opportunities to hit a big score, like a head norm or like a inside trip or whatever.
Yeah, he just he's like you said, he's fun to watch. He's got a million tools in the bucket. It's going to be fun to watch him this year. You know, he's coming off a lot of hype with just beating Yanni and beating now Sasso. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. I don't know
Yeah.
who Wisconsin has next up on the schedule in terms of like a big match, but
Yeah.
he's gonna be one to watch this year. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Speaking of duels, man, last year with the Iowa State duel, it got pretty interesting, and it was really entertaining as like a fan perspective.
Mhm.
I sent you that video, and you got to quit being orange and watch the whole thing. But it was funny, man. I like the story element that comes with wrestling, and I just feel like it was last year was just kind of just like this perfect storm of all of these Iowa stories, right, that are finally coming together. Like Kevin Dresser wrestled at Iowa. His whole coaching staff is from, they wrestled at Iowa, national champs from Iowa. And then, they're in, is it Hilton? Yeah, Hilton Coliseum, right? And there's, this huge venue and it's getting chippy. You got DeSanto freaking yelling in Kyvan Gadsden's ear, like commentate that, and it's just like all these like little things kind of lead up to this big moment. And, you don't want to see them fighting. Like those guys were fighting at the end, which kind of got wild. But, dude, I expect like fireworks this weekend, man. I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't necessarily want to pick one side or the other. I think it's going to be a close duel. I actually wrote down some numbers. I don't have them with me, but I was looking at it. It could easily be very one-sided either way. I actually think there's a lot of toss-up matches. And we can pull up and do you want to look at the lineups?
Yeah, pull those lineups up. Let's check them out. I think just going off my gut, I think Iowa State's gonna do it. I've got just a feeling they look good. They look sharp. They've got some good competition in already this year. They've had some big wins from some of their newer wrestlers like Casey Swiderski and Paniro Johnson. And then obviously with David Carr holding it down and some of the upper weights that have been there for a couple of years holding it down as well. So it's going to be good. The only thing I think that Iowa might pull out of their pocket, obviously, is right here on the probable lineup. You've got number 3, Real Woods. Brands hasn't said it for sure, but it sounds like he's nearing a return, as well as all their starters that they're missing, Lee at 25 and Teskey at 33. So when those two are back, I think this is Iowa's match.
Well,
100,
so I
10 out of
don't I
10.
don't know exactly what Woods' injury here. I'm not sure if it's shoulder.
I'm not
Uh,
sure either. I'm not sure.
but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like, yeah, you understand this dual meet's important. They're an in-state rival. There's a personal element to this. I would just say, like, you don't want to bring somebody back if they're not ready to go. That might be something that they're kind of teasing right now, having him in there and the probable. But I would say Drew Bennett's probably going to get the nod. I don't think Woods is going to be ready. I mean, I don't know what's happening in the room, but I mean, I would just say if I'm coaching the Hawkeyes, I'm probably going to save my guys for Penn State. I'm probably going to save them for the end of the year.
I agree with you. And I also, if you're Real Woods, and I'm sure Real Woods doesn't think this in his head, but you're coming back from injury and you haven't competed at all this year, and you just missed the All-Star Classic a week prior, and then you're going to get your first match against Casey Swiderski. Like, ugh, that's a tough one,
Well,
because of
so
stuff.
I would say home field advantage plays a factor. This is Swiderski's first time in Carver Hawkeye.
True.
And I mean, it's actually going to be Real Woods' first time as well.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't think he's going to wrestle. Do you want to do a quick pick him here?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to bet this time?
You want to do a burrito bet?
Burrito bet? That actually sounds kind of catchy.
That's why I'm
Okay. Are we
doing it.
doing it what I said, where we put the burritos in a package and I'll send it to you?
No, we're not, we're not doing that. But what we will do is I'll let you go at 25s and you pick. I get the opposite. 33s I'll go, and then we'll make our way down.
I'm just going to be quicker. I like Tarakina. I think if they start the weight here, they start the duel at 25s. I actually think that hurts Tarakina a lot because I don't know if he's dialing in his weight problems that he's apparently had in the past. But if I'm Dresser and I'm Metcalf and I'm Derek St. John, I am probably on his butt, making sure that he does the right things this week, making sure his weight's under control. So I'm going to give edge Tarakina, but I think it's going to be a decision.
I would agree with you. I mean, obviously, I'm going to get Harris in this situation, but if you remember a couple weeks back when Cal Baptist went out to Iowa State and Iowa for some duels, they had Elijah Griffin, who beat both Tarakina and Harris, and the match with Tarakina was definitely a closer match.
Yeah.
I think Tarakina, you're right, is probably struggling with the weight drop and the close proximity from weigh-in to wrestle. But I think he'll still have enough in the tank to beat Harris. At 33, I'm going to take, I believe Redding's going to get the nod. I'm not sure why there's two guys listed at that way. I don't know if Redding was out recently. I could be wrong. But I'm going to give him the nod over Colin Shriver. Watched Zach earlier, and I think he's going to be tough this year. Don't know if he's podium level. I don't know. I don't think he's all American status, but I see him being a 2-2 kind of guy at the national tournament, maybe 1-2. But I think he'll get a decision win.
I thought Ramazan was the guy, so I don't know why there's two listed here as well. I think if Ramazan goes out there, I think it's gonna be a battle. I like Shriver. But this is a toss up, I think, for sure. I think I don't know. I think no matter what, I think it's gonna be a decision. I'm gonna go Shriver, just to be different.
Yeah, do it.
So yeah, okay. Shriver. So right now you have it 6-0 Iowa State. I have it 3-3.
Perfect.
Okay, so 41s. I don't think Real Woods is wrestling. I don't think he's gonna wrestle. I don't think Drew Bennett's a bad wrestler at all. I think Swiderski, I think he's gonna try to get the major here. Maybe that's a little bit on the nose. That's kind of obvious, but I Drew Bennett needs to fight and he needs to not give up bonus points. So I think Iowa State's gonna pick up this one at 41s. Decision.
Yeah, there's no arguing with you there. I mean, honestly, even if it was Real Woods that came out there, I might still be tempted to pick Casey Swiderski for knowing that it's Real Woods' first match back and everything else going on in between. But you're right. I don't think he wrestles, and I think Casey gets a win, maybe a 5-6 point victory, maybe gets bonus. So we'll see. That's going to be big if Iowa State wants to win. 49. I'm going upset city. I'm going to take Paniro Johnson over Max Murin. I'm doing it.
Yeah, yeah, Murin, man. Murin always breaks my heart, man. Like I always think he's gonna place. Like last year, I picked him when the coach is in town. We kind of like like a tournament kind of deal where we picked who we wanted each weight. But yeah, I picked Murin and ended up round of 12. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think Panero Johnson, he's tough. He's proven that he can beat good guys. I think Miran's going to be tough and he's going to fight, and I think he's going to pull out the decision.
Perfect.
So you have it. What's the team score right now? You have it 9. You have it 12-0.
12-0.
And I have it what? I have it 6-6.
I think so.
Okay, you have it 12-0. I have it 6-6. 57s. We have Cody Seabreak from Iowa, and then we have Jason Krauser of Iowa State. I'm gonna favor Seabreak. I thought he wrestled that Penn guy. Is it Artelona? I think he wrestled
that was a
Artelona really
sick
well,
match. Nuts
except
match.
for that head and arm at the end. But he was able to roll it through. That was kind of nuts too.
That was super nuts. It was like wrestling
that was a
101. Like you have a headlock, don't get rolled through. Like you have them in a headlock, don't get rolled through, and then you get
Well,
rolled.
it's not even like he was in the motion, like the process of hitting the headlock. Like he had him on his back.
Yeah, settling. Like at that point, you're thinking like it's over.
Like he goes to roll through, just like adjust and like let go.
That was nuts, and it'll be interesting to see if Kobe, because he was I mean, I'm not gonna say he was getting his butt kicked, but he was definitely losing the match. Kind of pulled that one out of nowhere. It's gonna be
It was
interesting.
close, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he favors against some of the other guys who are, kind of on that that teeter totter of being ranked. 65s. This is gonna be a good one. Two totally different clashes of style. David Carr for Iowa State and Patrick Kennedy for Iowa. Patrick Kennedy is he's like freaking the Bull Junior. He wrestles very similar to Alex Marinelli. He's in your face, super hard hand fighter, has good leg attacks. He's gonna take you down. He's gonna ride you. He's gonna hard cut you. And then you got obviously David Carr, who's a stud. He's very dynamic, very long, very quick. This one's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be closer than people think. Obviously with the home field advantage going to Iowa, but I'm still going to take Carr. You can't go against Carr, and Patrick Kennedy's really good. I know a lot of Iowa fans are really excited to watch him this year because he's kind of been stuck behind some studs in the lineup and hasn't gotten to wrestle the last couple of years, but he's just, I don't think he's quite there yet at David Carr's level.
Well, so here's an interesting stat. So Kennedy, I think his average points per match right now is 20. It's about 20 points per match. So he's putting up a lot of points. I think he's a good heir to that 165 after Marinelli left. I think he's actually a little bit more dynamic with his attacks than Marinelli was. And I know his ranking says 15, but I think he's a top 4 or 5 guy at this weight, and this is a pretty tough weight. So I do think it's going to be close. I think it's just going to be depending on who's going to be able to get to their scores, and I think it might even come down to mat wrestling. We'll see what David Carr does on top. But I don't know. I think it's going to be close. Yeah, I feel like the smart move would probably be to bet on Carr, but I'm going to go Kennedy.
Yeah, it's going to be that's the highlight match of the duel. That's going to be a really good one. Well, that and 97s, I think.
So wait, who'd you pick for 57?
I think Seabreak Kobe gets it done. So I've got the duel 15-3.
15-3. So that's after
65.
Carr.
Yep.
Okay, and then I have it. What do I have it? I have 6, 12, 12, 12.
Oof. Probably more realistic than mine.
Yeah, every
Slow
single
down a
one
little
of these
bit.
matches is going to count. Like, obviously, that's, no duh, but like every
Right.
single match is going to matter. And it's probably going to be a pretty fun place to be for this tool. 74, we have from Iowa State, we have Julian Broderson and number 20 ranked Nelson Branch from Iowa. I like the way Nelson looked in the Penn duel. I think this is a match where hopefully, Nelson is kind of feeling himself and, can maybe pick up some bonus points. I think the Iowa State guy is going to fight like hell to not give that up, obviously, but I'm going to go Nelson Branch for this one. And I'm going to just say it's a decision.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm super bummed. Cali native from Temecula Valley, MJ Gaitan is at Iowa State. Won the 74 spot, but I think they're going to redshirt him, and that's why we're seeing Julian Broderson's name here. I think they had MJ wrestle his 5 matches or whatever the new NCAA rule is, where you can wrestle 5 matches and still redshirt. So I think he's done for the year, at least in terms of in an Iowa State singlet. Would have been cool to watch a Cali kid go out there and scrap, but yeah, you're right. Nelson's going to get the win, probably decision. He didn't impress me too much in the duel against Penn. And that's probably just breaking the rust off first match back. So yeah, we'll see. I think he gets the decision win though as well.
I think with MJ, I want to say I heard in an interview Dresser said that he probably was they were probably going to redshirt him just because he's a 60, as of now, I think they think he's a 65 pounder and just hasn't really built into that 74 weight pound. That's 174 weight class. So I think that's probably a smart move for them to redshirt him and let him mature a little bit and, kind of dial in whatever way he's going to go.
I agree. I love that guy's fun to watch. I mean, he had some big wins already this year, and he
Dude,
could
he
just
would
put people to
frustrate the
sleep.
crap out of me because he would try that little that shuck and he would basically like pull somebody into their into his lead leg.
Like giving him the leg.
Like he would hit that throw by and he would open up himself like to get leg attacked.
Yeah.
Like repeatedly. And I'd
He's
be like,
the
dude,
king.
just I get you like that move, but like do something else.
So 184, we got from Iowa, number 9, Abe Assad, and number 5 from Iowa State, Marcus Coleman. This is a tough one. I should have done more homework and more research because I'm not remembering if these two wrestled last year. And I want to say they did, but I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I think I want it. Brands might have wrestled that one. I don't remember.
I don't
I don't
either,
remember.
but they're both really tough, really stingy guys. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna flip the script. I'm gonna go Abe Assad over Marcus Coleman. I've got to give Iowa some matches here.
I think it's going to come down to if Abe Assad can get takedowns on his feet. He's been hitting some low attacks, and let's see if he can finish on Coleman. Coleman, he wrestles hard. I think sometimes he plants himself too much, where it kind of leaves himself vulnerable. But he was an All-American last year, I think, right? I think it's going to go Marcus Coleman, which I think for me that makes it 15-15.
For me, it's let's see. Oh, I'll add it up at the end. How about that?
Okay. Math is hard sometimes,
Math
huh?
is hard. And I'm looking up the bracket from last year's nationals. Um,
Pretty sure he plays.
Coleman placed. I was looking at what Assad did.
He didn't place. He did not place.
I'm trying to see if they even wrestled. Mm,
Oh,
So Abe was the 18 seed. He lost to Hunter Bolin first round, 6-3 from Virginia Tech, dropped down. And then he wrestled Burkhart, won. And then he lost to Gear, Oklahoma State in overtime. And then Gear beat, no, I'm sorry. Then Gear, the next match, lost to Coleman from Iowa State, 18-3. Wow, high scoring match. And then Coleman kind of just burned his way through the backside of the bracket and found himself taking 7th place. So
Yeah.
maybe Coleman wins it. I don't know. I'll stick with my Assad pick though.
Yeah. This next one though, dude, this is gonna be the match. Like this is gonna be a huge match, especially if they end up starting at 25s. We have number 6, Younger Bastida. Is he from Cuba? He's from Cuba, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then number 3 ranked Jacob Warner, who just lost to Rocky Elam. So some history here. Some history. Younger Bastida didn't really understand the rules a lot last year with the spiking of the headgear. But that was like a big moment in the duel where it really kind of like raised the energy in Hilton Coliseum. I pulled off the upset, but I think everybody that has watched him wrestle, he's very capable of beating the best guys. Like really good freestyle background. He's gotten, from what I've seen, pretty good on top and is able to get out. So I don't know. I think Younger is going to pull ahead on this one. So
Yeah,
Younger's going to pull ahead with the decision.
I think I'm going to take that pick with you. I think so. Interesting enough, last year at the national tournament, Bastida lost in round 2 to Rocky Elam from Mizzou, 1-0. So that just goes to show you obviously how close those two are. And there's a ton of progression since then, but those two were neck and neck. Warner goes on to be a national finalist that year. Bastida ends up fighting back through the backside, take 5th place. Had some really big wins on the backside. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with, I think I'm gonna go with Bastida as well. Warner did not impress me in the pen duel. He, lost to Elam in the all-star meet. I think he's still maybe figuring out a couple things. He kind of walked off the mat at the pen duel, and he, camera zooms in on him and Brands, and you could just see it in his face that he wasn't satisfied with that match, but maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's an injury, or maybe there's, something that's bothering him, or, who knows? So I'm going to go with Bastida. They're Iowa State's riding the hype train right now. And if they start getting the wins, like I'm racking them up on my sheet right here, it's going to be hard to beat the next guy,
Yeah, they have a really good dual team.
Very good dual team. All right. Heavyweight. This one's going to be Big Cass all the way. You got number 4, Anthony Cassiope, number 10, Sam Schuler.
Schuler.
You got to go big Cass here, and maybe bonus. I don't know. It's hard at heavyweight because, like, if you put someone to their back, you're probably going to pin them.
Unless you're Cassiope.
Yeah.
Remember, last year he wrestled the Princeton
when he
guy.
ran that, yeah, and then he got
I think it was a half. It was like a half or a bar, and he put the guy on his back, and the Princeton guy just like, I don't know, just like shoved him off and like ended up on top of him and pinned him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cassie by major, right? Just to give the little bit more points for Iowa. There's a very good chance he could get a pin though.
Yeah, I don't think bonus points is out of the realm here. And for me, my team pick right now, he's gonna have to get bonus points. Otherwise, it's gonna be, if he just wins a decision, it's gonna be 18-18. So if he gets the bonus points, then yeah, 19-18, Iowa wins.
So I've got it. Iowa State 18, Iowa 13 on my sheet. 18-13 Iowa State over Iowa.
Okay.
Probably doesn't happen that way. Maybe I think it's going to be closer to like a 15-16. But nevertheless, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be close, man. It's going to be close. It's going to be on Big Ten Network. Do you have the Big Ten Network?
I do. I don't think I have Big Ten Plus though.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't even know what day is the duel.
that's a great question. It was probably on whatever you just had up.
Yeah, but I already closed out it. Oh, I didn't. Let me get in there. Let me get in. When is the duel?
Uh,
It's December 4th,
December 4th,
11:30. So
Sunday.
that's a Sunday. I can watch it.
Yes, sir. We
Ooh,
could
ooh, ooh.
podcast while the duel's going on.
Dude, what if we had a watch party?
Let's do it. Sounds like a plan. Everyone's invited.
Well, I don't know how to do that.
I don't either, but we'll look into it. We'll get back to you guys. So yeah, that's it for college. Let's talk high school, Brian. What do you guys got?
We'll talk
What
about high school.
high school? What do you guys got going on this weekend?
We're gonna go Chuck Chansey, and we're gonna bring
Chuck who?
what?
Chuck who?
What?
Chuck who?
Chuck what?
What's the name of the tournament?
The name of the tournament?
Yeah.
It's just called the tournament.
Oh, okay.
It's called this weekend.
Nice.
The tournament this weekend.
Great artist.
Last weekend. So yeah, we'll be wrestling at the Chuck Chansey tournament this weekend, and we're gonna bring some guys, 13 of them, and
13 guys?
we're gonna bring 13.
What weight class you missing?
What weight class am I missing?
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to reveal that information.
I'm gonna find out on Saturday.
Yeah, you can find out. Check the paper, dude. Check the paper, man.
You
uh,
are you guys expected to win it as a team or
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think with this lineup that we have right now, probably not. We won it last year. We
okay?
won it last year pretty convincingly. Um,
Who else
yeah, I don't
goes?
know. I mean, we have some guys that we're kind of playing around with our lineup right now, with where we think guys will wrestle most optimally. There's a chance some guys might move up. There's some chances that there's a very good chance a couple guys are going to go down. But yeah, we're just going to play around. One of our weights, it's we have two young guys that are going to be competing for a spot. And we're just going to figure out basically who wrestles better at that weight, and then the other one might move up. So we'll figure that out this weekend. I'm excited. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun. Last year it was fun. We had a couple guys in the finals, and I think a lot of guys placed. But you're just trying to build that team camaraderie again, because I think that's something that really is going to help us down the stretch. And we have a lot of young guys that are going to have to play a big role this year. So it's important for them to kind of feel that camaraderie.
It's a 2-day tournament, correct?
Yep, 2-day tournament.
Who
So
hosts it?
we're driving. I have club practice, and we get done at 8, and then I'm leaving from club practice to drive to Madeira. So it's about a 2-hour drive.
Oof. And what other tough teams are going?
So Buchanan, I think, is sending some of their backups. Las Gatas is going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Some local teams will be there, like Highland and Centennial. I'm trying to think who else I saw. There's going to be some other, like Alisal is going to be there. Do you know Alisal? They're from CCS.
No, but I've got the
I'm
tournament up
probably
here.
missing some. I'm probably Clovis East and Clovis North are going to be there.
Let's try this.
So it should be a fun time. And I think one thing, and I've said it a few times, but it's important for us to be competitive in the fight. I don't really care if we win the tournament or not right now. It's about getting our guys better at wrestling. And for some of them, this is going to be their first varsity tournament.
Yeah, all that matters is really at the end of the year at the state tournament. Everything else is preparation for that. So, that's something I kind of tell my guys too. Obviously, we want to go out there and win the tournament. Each individual wants to win their bracket, but the ultimate goal is just getting better, making the corrections to what we've been working on, seeing the improvement in our skill set. I don't want you to go out there and hit the same move that you've been doing since you were 5 years old over and over and over. I want you to expand on your, wrestling tool bucket, add some things to the arsenal that we've been working on and put them out there and put them on display. Take risks. So, especially
When
this
you
early in
live
the year.
yeah. Do you
Yeah,
have a garage?
I do have a garage.
When do you like when you were like fixing your pipes when they burst over the summer? Did you go into the garage and grab your tool bucket?
Yeah, and I just only found a double leg and a high C. I couldn't find the wrench.
Is tool bucket a phrase?
Um, Tool
There's
bucket.
toolbox.
I mean, aren't they the same though?
Well, I feel like a bucket is like what you might hold like water.
I have
Like a
like one of those Home Depot
like a
buckets.
bucket. A bucket is more like this, but like wider.
Right, right. I have a Home Depot bucket and there's some tools in it. I'm not afraid.
Like some painting tools.
I won't fall victim to your box.
Like some painting tools, like the little stick and then the
Yeah, I
roller.
mean, there's a couple things in there. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, you guys are hosting a tournament this weekend. Can I ask you about like preparation? Like, how much do you do? Like, do the coaches do, and then versus like, do you guys have like a parent group, or like a boosters that kind of helps get things going? Like, how much do you do personally?
In terms of tournament prep, I mean, we've got a large team in terms of freshmen, girls, junior varsity, and this is a varsity tournament this weekend. So we just get everyone after practice Friday, set the whole gym up. We Friday's a late night for most of us. Obviously, the guys competing, we try to get them out of there earlier, but everyone else, we're setting up the tournament, getting the mats rolled out, tables rolled out, all that good stuff. And then Saturday for it's a single day tournament. So Saturday during the day, we have our freshman JV and girls run the tables and whatnot, table helpers and all that. And then parents will just primarily run the snack bar and the concessions and the entry, as just volunteering. And then it makes it easier for us because we just got to worry about coaching. Tables set, table staff's taken care of, refs are there, they get fed, we get fed. We try to do a good concession stand. We bring a huge grill out. um the
Is
school
John on
resource
the grill?
the school resource officer gets on the grill sometimes, man. He be flipping burgers. It's pretty bomb. Yeah, it's fun. So yeah, I mean, no, we do a good job. It's small. It's a 16 team tournament. It's real small, but it's a good one. Good little kind of knock the dust off the first start of the year.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Are you gonna have all your varsity guys wrestling?
Yeah, pretty much. For the most part, a couple of them are sitting out. But yeah, for the most part, we're sending most our guys. We should definitely win the tournament. But I'm just telling, I mean, kind of the process. What I was preaching them today and yesterday was, I want to go out there. I want each individual to go out there, do what we've been working on, but dominate. And be coachable. Like if they look at me in the corner and I'm saying cut them, I expect you to cut them, get another takedown. Right? If you take someone down and it was too easy and you're already racking up some points on top, like I want to see you work. I'm going to tell you to cut them, get out front, put your hands on their head, get in their face, wait for them to get their one, take them down again. So
Yeah.
it's just something
Well,
something
hand
we've
on
been
the
working on.
armpit, right?
What's that?
Hand on the armpit, right?
Armpit and back of the head.
Okay. Not like walk out in front and then put your hands on their head.
No, no, one hand in the
Actually, yeah, Sean, do that. Do
yeah.
that. Do that.
One in the armpit, one on the
Cut
head.
us.
And we've been working some other things, getting after it with some different techniques on top, staying, with the basics on bottom. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Should be some good matches. Most of the guys are wrestling up a weight, or even two weights for some guys. So then they'll
So
trickle
Guppy's at 70s is what you're saying?
I don't think he's that big.
You don't
But yeah.
think? You don't know?
Oh, I know how big he is.
You don't check his weight after practice?
They were just with all the
I bet
other
he's a big guy. I bet he cuts a lot of weight.
with 30 other guys, just some of them get lost in my memory.
They get lost. So
Yeah.
so Colin gets lost in your memory. Doesn't sound like
Uh,
he's that important to you.
yeah. So, and we'll have a B team, which will be fun too. So my goal for the varsity B guys is, as a team, I'm hoping they are at least top 5. That's my goal for them.
Are there any weights that you might see some guys like compete for a starting spot or
Um,
upset?
we've got some lineup tightness, I'd say, between 126 and 145. There's, I think, how many weights is that? 4 weights, and I think I've got 6 guys who are all pretty good. 5 of them being ranked in the state between 4 weight classes. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. None of those guys, I think, for this tournament are at the same weight since everyone's kind of bumping up. So more spread out wise, they're okay and they're in. But next weekend, and then in Reno TOC in 2 weekends, we're gonna have some challenge matches. I'd imagine some guys having to face off AB and stuff like that. So it's gonna get really interesting. It's gonna get really
Yeah.
interesting.
How often do you do wrestle offs in the room?
It's it's a case by case basis. We have a parent meeting at the beginning of the season, and I always try to explain to parents that with challenge matches, it's not always like it's not a weekly thing, and it's not always just result driven, right? Like if your athlete is getting in trouble in school, right, and getting called to the principal or the vice principal's office all the time, and the school resource officers getting involved, like, those are things that get back to us as coaches, and that might result in you not getting a chance to challenge, right? If your grades are poop, might result in you not getting that challenge match that you were hoping for. And then straight up your effort in the room. If your effort in the room is not reaching the output that it should be, and the other guy's busting his tail and putting more work in, and it's considerate and it's considerably more work than what that guy's doing, then might not be granted a challenge match. It's very case by case, in my opinion.
Yeah, we had a couple guys competing for some spots last year, and one was a senior and he got beat out by a sophomore. It was pretty tough. But we kind of just we'd bring him to tournaments and was just looking for somebody to kind of separate themselves. And by the end of the year, one guy separated himself at that weight, and we had to sit the senior, which
Yeah. Yeah. It
that's
happens.
just the name of the game, and we're a competitive team. And if we had 2 guys in a weight, we had 2 guys in a weight. Best guy's gonna start. And then we had another couple of guys at a lower weight. We had a basically like a best of 3 situation. And just because again the results were kind of comparable, and they never had like a head to head. And generally, though, speaking, like we want the guy that's going to compete the best. Like, yeah, we consider all those factors that you mentioned, like academic, social. Are they getting in trouble or not? Are they doing the right things off the mat? But generally speaking, we haven't had too much problems where that becomes like an issue with the wrestle off. Usually, the best guy is the guy that's doing all the right things, anyways. But yeah, normally it's just like, all right, if somebody might get second at a tournament, well, and then the other guy gets fifth. Well, it's like, well, that's kind of maybe a little bit more clear. But we don't really determine who's going to actually be the guy until the end of the year. And then we try to maybe move some weights around. But then for duels, it's like we're just going to do what we need to do to make sure the best guys are at the weights where they're going to perform optimally. So that's
Yeah.
going to be kind of this weekend. We're going to kind of figure out some situations where we need to put people for dual meets. So
It sounds like we have the same philosophy when it comes to duels, because when it comes to duels, we try to just put our best lineup out there, and also some of the teams we duel down here are not quite at our level,
yeah,
respectively. And so sometimes those are good opportunities for us to get other guys matches that don't necessarily get as many matches.
yeah,
I will say this year we did a really good job. The head coach Jesse and I worked really hard on building a schedule, and each the A team, we have a B team, and we have a JV and a frosh, and then our girls. We made sure to get each level of those multiple tournaments, and um, I'm just very thankful for our coaches. We have a large coaching staff, and that's going to make it way easier because there's some weekends where there's a girls tournament, there's a 2-day boys tournament, there's another varsity tournament that we're sending some guys to, and there's a frosh tournament. And it's like,
Yeah.
man, I need 2 coaches here, 2 coaches there. I need 2 guys here for 2 days, and it's not easy, but doing it the way that we're doing it this year, I think is the way to do it. I think it's beneficial for everyone, keeps all the kids invested, even if they're not the A guy. And even those seniors, like you mentioned, like we've had them in the past where you have that senior, he loses the starting spot. The guy who's the starter gets hurt later in the year and he gets that chance, boom, jumps in the lineup. Or, something happens, grades, some kid misses grades. That senior that wasn't in the lineup has to jump in. But you got to keep that kid in the sport and in the room training, right? If he loses his wrestle off, knows he's not going to have any tournaments because he's not the guy. It's so easy for that kid to walk away. Whereas if you tell them, hey, I'm still taking you to tournaments, look at all these tournaments we're going to go to, and look at all these matches you're still going to get, it keeps them more invested, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of holding back on naming who the actual starter is. You don't say, "Hey, you're the starter."
Yeah,
I think
right.
we for that scenario we brought them both to varsity tournaments.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some scenarios where one guy was hurt at one point and the other guy was like sick and had to miss something, and it was weird last year because of COVID. So yeah, we couldn't actually make that decision until the end. So we have that kind of scenario a few times in our schedule where we have a varsity a varsity A tournament, a varsity B tournament, a JV tournament, and a girls tournament all going on the same weekend. And we got a big staff too. I mean, how do you guys figure out who exactly is going to go where? And do you feel like at times, how do you manage your staff? I'm just going to say it, their egos sometimes, right? Because everyone wants to go to where the big tournaments are.
Yeah, that is true. Well, in terms of the wrestlers themselves, we did a full day of 2 hours of challenge matches a couple weeks ago prior to any competition in the season. So that kind of gave me a baseline of where everyone's at, right? From there, now we start going off of kind of what we talked about, effort in the room, obviously the skill set.
Are you talking about wrestlers?
Yes. Yeah.
I was talking
wrestlers.
about coaches.
Oh, so with coaches.
Yeah. How do you know, how do you send, if I say, hey, Sean, sorry, buddy, we really need you to go to this JV tournament.
Yeah.
How do you manage the coaches?
So that's actually, I'd say that's actually my job. I've been the one that's kind of been telling guys where they kind of need to be and where they need to go. And that is hard. Luckily, we have coaches that we have coaches meetings pretty often. We get together as a group and whether it's meeting on Zoom or at someone's house just to chat over things. And we meet pretty regularly. And that's kind of what we talk about is hey, we're a team, we're a coaching staff. And if we all work together, this is all going to go a lot smoother. And if you get told to go and that you're needed at this tournament, then you're needed at that tournament. And it is what it is. If I got told by the head coach, hey, you're going to go coach the freshman tournament instead of going to Doc B, yeah, I want to go to Doc B, but someone needs to go coach the freshman. So I'm going to do it. Now, luckily, I'm in charge of that, so I'm going to Doc B.
Well, I'm always I mean, Carl and I we're technically sharing head coaching duties this year, but my thing is I want to utilize my staff as much as possible, and I want to make sure they feel like they're valued. One thing we did last year at the state meet, we kind of gave everybody some of the bigger matches. I mean, we were there where we needed to be, but the preliminaries, we kind of all right, you guys are going to coach this match, just because we're it's not about them, right? But it's kind of just, making sure that they feel like they're valued and they're appreciated.
No, 100%.
We have a couple coaches on staff though. They're just soldiers, and they understand, what their role is. And they're kind of more this philosophy of here I am, send me,
Yeah.
and man, that's so important to have. And when we think about what the backbone of our program is, what really drives our program forward is the parents. It's the guys on the team, the people on the team that have bought in, and then it's the coaches that are willing to put in the effort, to put in the extra time. So I'm very thankful for who we have, and it hasn't been a problem this year, which is cool.
Let me ask you this though, because this has been a topic of
Are you gonna say something controversial, Sean? Do I need to like turn my
no,
head
no.
backwards?
This isn't controversial. This is something that we spoke about last year. And it's a good topic because I've talked to a couple other coaches and people I know about this topic. So, and it's related to what you were just talking about. State meet in particular, right? It's the state finals, right? Or maybe
Uh-huh.
a medal match. Okay. Do you think it's appropriate to let the athlete that's wrestling pick who he wants in his corner? Or do you think the coaching staff decides who goes in the corner?
Um, I think yeah, we talked about this. I think I gave you the answer. I don't remember exactly what I said. I think it might be more like, again, it's always got to be what's best for the athlete. So that's my answer. That's what's best for the athlete. Um, yeah, it's gonna be.
Tough.
I
It's
mean,
tough.
it's yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, well, if the options are like, well, who does he work out with the most, or like, who the head coach is, technically, um, you know, I mean, to ask your question again.
Ask it again.
Ask it again. That's it one more time.
So if you're wrestling in the state finals
Uh,
or the state medal match, right? A very important
yeah.
match. Round 12, right? Big match. Do you want to pick who your coaches are in your corner as an athlete? Or do you think the coaching staff should decide who's in your corner?
I think if you have a good staff, it shouldn't matter. I think everyone's on the same page. I think back when I was in college, like it didn't matter. Didn't matter. Basically you get two coaches in a corner. And for these bigger matches, you're probably gonna have two coaches in a corner, unless, uh you got like five or six finalists or something like that, or semifinalists. That made us a little bit different. But yeah,
Then
I
everyone's
mean,
getting love.
like I remember just being in college, like it didn't matter if it was Manny, if it was Mendoza, if it was Orozco, um, if it was Hankey, if it was Smith, like any combination of those guys, if it was Boyle, I felt pretty good having them in my corner. So
Yeah, the only
as long
thing
as
I'd say was I had a certain I sometimes had a little bit more confidence depending on who was in my corner. Like some coaches just got me more fired up. And they were able to connect with me a little bit better. Like a Roscoe did a really good job of being able to like, hey, all right, you know what you got to do, like let's do it. And I would just be like, all right, we're gonna do it. Whereas like other coaches, and not to say I would underperform with other coaches, but just some coaches know how to speak to you, know how to work with you a little bit better, and that's through your relationship with that coach.
yeah.
you know
Yeah, I liked having Ceballos in my corner a lot, especially like in some positions, like when I counter legs, like that was a big way how I would score points in
Mhm.
college, getting wrestling on the bottom, and I just I can just hear his voice like just for dual meets. He's like,
Yeah,
"Come on, Batista," and
yeah,
he'd say it wrong, but it would. Yeah, kind of like how you said, some guys they kind of just you have an ear for their voice and you kind of pick up on their energy they're giving out. But
yeah.
again, I think if you have a good staff, that knows how to coach in the corner, they usually do a pretty good job. My only thing is like if you have that trust, like you don't want somebody that you don't trust in the corner. And the reasons that maybe you wouldn't trust them is if you get into a big moment and they don't know what to do, or if a call gets messed up and they don't know that it's messed up. Like there was a time last year, there was a point in the match where I'm not cornering and I'm off on the side, and they didn't realize that there was another stall call, so there should be another point, and they think the match is over, and it's like no, it's overtime. So I'm like, try not to curse, but I'm like, hey, there's another freaking stall call. It's tied. Like it's overtime. You need to tell them. Like you need to tell the ref. Like, and
Yeah.
it got fixed. It got fixed. But there was like a moment where I was like, well, the match is over. I'm like, you need to tell them. One more
Oh,
point on the
yeah.
board. They didn't put the point on the board. So I mean, that doesn't happen too much with our coaches, but it's just looking back on it, was kind of funny. But you know, yeah, I mean, if you trust who you have in the corner and they're doing their job, then yeah, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't matter too much.
What is your guys's what's your guys's like tournament prep look like during the week? You guys doing a lot of conditioning? You guys doing a lot of drills, a lot of live? Like, what's it kind of look like?
So I mean, that's I'm gonna answer that in two ways. I have two answers. So for one, we go 4-week training cycles, which is something that I didn't even really understand until like I would say before my first year coaching. I went into a high school room, and they were doing conditioning in February, like hard sprints, and guys were like throwing up, like multiple guys were throwing up in the trash can. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this. Like, why are these guys like so out of shape where they're throwing up? Or why are they being ran so hard where they physically and mentally are just broken? I'm like, that does not make any sense to do that at that time. It just didn't seem right. So I'm a big fan of training cycles. So we do 4-week training cycles. The last one gets harder. The last week we do some harder drilling, some longer goes sometimes, just kind of just feeling on what the guys need. But we try to make that 4th week more intense. And if we have a dual meet or if we have a tournament, fine. We're gonna just train the way that we need to train. But we won't like do like a lot of live like the day before a competition. Like if it's a Friday tournament, Thursday night we're traveling. Well, Thursday we're just gonna break a good sweat. We might get some really short goes, but not anything long or hard. We might get some sparring and some maybe some situations, and then like a drill match, and then just break a good sweat. And then if you're over, keep your sweat going. And then if you're good, go shower, get some food, and then get ready to go. So that's really the only time we taper in the actual week. But that 4-week training cycle, we go pretty hard. And then like with this last one, we gave them a little bit more time off for Thanksgiving. So we had like our fourth week of training, and then we had some practices where we got some match simulations, and then just, all right, you guys get some time off. That's your time off, and then now we just start our brand new training cycle again, and it's gonna pick up. But then the timing, I think, is gonna be the week before Doc B. So it's gonna be good timing, I think, for us to kind of peak at the right time. So you want to have peaks and valleys in your training. You can't just train like hard at a high level and just maintain that throughout the season, because guys are going to get hurt. They're going to get sick. They're going to get mentally fatigued. And I see some teams training on Instagram, and if they're listening right now, I make comments on their Instagram, don't be ready too soon. And their schedule, they got a pretty tough schedule early on, but it's like, don't be ready too soon. Be ready at the end of the year.
I like that. It's all about peaking at the right time.
Got to peak.
Yep. And then you got to repeat.
Got to repeat.
I beat you to it. Yeah, we're kind of similar. We don't necessarily go in like a set cycle schedule like you guys are, but ours is more, it's very based on what we're in need of at that time, right? If it's a week where we don't really have a lot going on, like, let's get after some technique, let's break things down, let's dive deep into some philosophical stuff on the mat, try to get some positions fixed, some mindset stuff. And if it's a week where it's big competition, we got a tournament, it's a big tournament, right? Then we're going to get obviously our drills in. We're going to stick with our go-to stuff, our go-to attacks, cleaning up your offense on your feet, your top stuff, your bottom stuff, sprinkling a little conditioning in there, a little bit of live. So just depends.
So
right?
on those weeks where you don't really have anything that weekend, you actually slow things down?
It depends, right? Like, we might have because we run morning and afternoon practices. We run a morning circuit from 3 days a week, and then afternoon practice 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So that morning circuit, we might have a little harder lifts, a little bit more explosive, maybe some conditioning, maybe some really hard runs. And then in the afternoon, maybe break things down a little bit differently on the mat. kind of learn a little bit more, kind of take that opportunity to break a move down, really learn it, drill it really well, master it, and then move on. Master. So it just depends, right? Like if it's a week of a tournament, like I don't want to be teaching a kid a brand new move, just because the likelihood of them using it is low. The likelihood of them using it and using it incorrectly is high.
Yeah. I've been showing my super secret series to
Secret
my
series.
youth wrestlers. I'm not going to tell you what it is though, but we'll see it. You'll see it in a couple of years.
The SSS.
Huh?
It's the SSS.
Super secret series. But there's a move in the series where it's like, dude, like I'll just say it's a head and arm, but but it's from a cool setup, and I feel like it's a pretty clean way to get to it, and it's like I told the kids, I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna show you this move. But every coach, like they always tell you, like have this move, but like you're not allowed to do it. And I like told them, like you guys aren't allowed to do it, but I'm going to show you it now. And I've some of these kids I've coached for a couple of years now, so they kind of know like what I like to do on our feet. Yeah, like hitting that move, and I was like, you just got to be really patient. You got to do it. You got to execute it correctly at the right time. If they react this particular way, this is the only time you're able to hit it. And yeah, and you're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to, I don't want you really hitting in a match yet until we gain some more confidence in it. But
yeah, no, exactly. You got to give them time to learn the move, drill it properly, and adjust it into their toolbox, Brian. Toolbox. Last thing before we get off is let's talk about are you on the California forum at all? Like, do you ever get on there and
no, I go on the Twitter. I tweet. I don't go on the forum.
You still hanging out around the twit? Not too
I
much.
try to hang out there as much as possible.
So you're
I
not on the
like Twitter,
forum?
man. You need to get on the Twitter game more.
I
There's
know
some funny stuff.
there is, but I mean, dude, I don't really post too much on the forum at all, really, but this thing cracks me up, man. Some of the things on here are so funny. And someone was mentioning just earlier this month about how the southern section is breaking up the format for masters. They're going from that big, 2-day tournament that sends 9 or 10, I think, now to state. And they're going to do 2 1-day 16-man brackets with top 5 from each going to state. I don't know more details on it. I don't know if those are going to be held at 2 different schools on 2 different days, if they're going to be, one school's here, one school's there, same day. I don't know how they'd split the 16 guys, like if schools over the size of this are at one and schools under the size of this are at others, or if it's based on seeds. I don't know. But it seems interesting. It seems like it's going to be a freaking mess or a disaster. What do you think about it?
So if they are splitting like their Masters tournament, like the tournament right before state, into 2 16-man brackets, that's really stupid. That's really stupid.
That's what I'm hearing they're doing.
It's stupid because you're dividing your talent. And the whole point is trying to get the best guys from your section, from the southern section, the best guys from your section to the state tournament so they can medal. Okay, so you can maintain the amount of qualifiers you can have.
Right.
That's what you need to do if you're the organizer of that section. If you are splitting it, if you're splitting maybe like divisions, like a step below that, like before the Masters divisions, I get that. That's fine. You want to make it equitable. You want to make sure guys can get in, whatever. That's fine. Okay. But if you are splitting your Masters, tournament up, that's stupid. That's really stupid.
So now curveball, say they don't do as well at the state tournament. Then they drop to 9 qualifiers because they're at 10. Then does one 16-man send 5 and the other one send 4?
Huh?
What?
Southern section is pretty good. I don't think they would actually lose if if they don't split it, I don't think they're going to lose a qualifier. I think they're pretty
Right.
tough.
But theoretically, right, they could lose one in the future. Would one 16-man bracket then send 5 and the other one would send 4 because they'd be at 9 qualifiers?
You have to go back. You'd have to go back the other way.
Exactly. That's what I'm
There's a
saying.
wild. It just makes it more. I know that's so dumb. That's so dumb. That's dumb
I'm
thing. I don't believe that's true.
I'm
I
not
feel
trying
like
to argue.
where else have you seen that?
So it's on the forum. He said, Lynx Wrestler 13 said, just wanted to see your guys' thoughts on the new Southern Section Masters format. 2 one-day 16-person brackets per weight with top 5 going to state in each for boys, top 4 in each for girls. I see how it could be better in some ways, but could definitely also see one bracket being crazy competitive and the other one being lesser. I'm sure we'll get more information on how it will work soon, but I wanted to see everyone's thoughts on it. A couple people said they weren't fans. Someone asked some good questions that I kind of brought up. If they're going to be separate weekends, different locations, boys at one location, girls at another. And then they said one bracket could potentially be more weighted than the other if you go off of rankings or seedings. Oh, here's a comment. I didn't see this earlier. Someone responded, said it's all in the same location. Boys will be one day on Friday, girls will be one day on Saturday. Seems like having boys and girls in the same location played a big factor in the
Wait.
decision.
So they're gonna have. This is silly. So they're gonna have 2 different boys tournaments going on the same day at the same location.
It's what it sounds like. I don't get it, Brian. I truly don't. We might have to jump. Let's make accounts. Let's jump on the forum and let's blow this thing up.
Let's just
Because this
tweet
is
it.
making sense.
Let's
No,
just
none of
tweet
these
it. I
guys.
don't care. You know what? You do what you want, Southern Section. You do what you want. Okay. It's kind of like, I'm proud that, I'm in the Central Section where none of that silliness is going to happen. We got some good leadership over here. That's not going to happen over here, man.
Quick question about the Central Section because I'm unaware. How many are in your Masters tournament? How many individuals per weight? 32?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Is it 32?
I think it's 32.
Right. And you guys send what, 10 to state?
10.
Yeah, 9 or 10. Yeah, I mean, if you guys were doing it, then why can't Southern Section? I mean, I get it. There's more schools in the Southern Section, right? A lot more schools, which means a lot more wrestlers. But I feel like they need to find a way to trickle it down more fairly. Maybe Masters isn't the issue. Maybe it's whatever they're doing before Masters.
Yeah, have a league tournament.
League tournament like you guys do.
Tournament.
And then
Have
a
your section
CIF,
tournament. Have
a
your Masters.
section.
That's how it used to be.
And then Masters. Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
Now in San Diego, our league tournament doesn't qualify you for anything. Some people don't even have a league tournament. It's more of just for funds to be.
Yeah, we don't have one. Well, we have a league tournament, but it's not part of our postseason.
Right. So I mean, if that's the thing, then just do that so that there's ways to trickle in. But then I can understand where maybe one league has like 5 guys that are really good, ranked in the state, but only
like
4.
You look at the track, like the Clovis East, Clovis North, Clovis West, Central, Clovis and Buchanan. That's a pretty competitive group.
Yeah, so if the league tournament only sends 4 guys to state and you got 5 guys that are really good, all state qualifier types, then that can really suck, and I can understand how that can be an issue. It's tough. I think there's better ways to go about it other than breaking the tournament into 2 16-man brackets.
Why not have 4? Why not have 4 8-man?
Why not 32?
And we'll have it all on the same mat at the same time.
Let's do a 32
Royal Rumble.
I was gonna say 32
all
man.
the 106 pounders that want to wrestle at state. We can only take 8. We're going
round
to take
robin. Round robin the whole tournament.
Round robin, dude.
Yeah.
Just make it an entire what if that's how they decide who's gonna be the state champion? Like you had to so at a Major League Baseball in Japan. So depending on what you're ranked, depends on how many games you have. So I want to say they bring like 8 Like there's 8 teams in their postseason. So the way that works is the first game is the number 7 and the number 8 play each other. And then if you win, you go up against the 6th ranked team. And then if you win, you go up against the 5th ranked team. And it goes all the way up to 1.
Yeah.
So if you're ranked 8th, you have to run the gauntlet. You have to win 8 games.
I just read an interesting comment on here that said, some are reading into the bracket. This is posted by Custer. Some are reading into the bracket split a little too far. The split isn't based off of school, CIF, region, or location. That think of it as a top and bottom of the bracket we already use. Top half is bracket A and the 1 and 4 seed. Bottom half, bracket B, has the 2 and 3 seed. Seeding heavily based off of Cho's rankings, and those that have been around know Cho rarely misses. That is facts. Essentially, the southern section is doing what has potential to be what's best for the kids. He doesn't really explain how.
No,
And then it
so
says,
so you split that up. So the main problem with that you have is consolation.
right.
Consolation. People wrestling back to get a spot. Granted, for probably the best guys, it's not going to change too much. But for like the 8, 9, 10 guy, that's a pretty big deal because you're not going to get those matchups that you might normally see.
Yeah, not only that, Brian, but if you have two, so you might have 2 southern section ones. How the frick does that happen? So when we go to the state meet with the seating criteria and how the brackets divvied up with the
it'd probably be whoever's higher ranked, maybe. But yeah, that's a whole nother problem. So
doesn't make
again,
sense.
I think whoever's idea this is, they're not thinking about logistics. It might be something where they're trying to make it more equitable, or they're trying to how about just have a damn tournament and put the best 32 guys in there, and the top 10 get to go, and the other ones better luck next year, or if you're a senior, kick rocks. Sorry.
Yeah, we need to find the southern section coach to get on here and let's have a debacle.
Well, yeah. I might see some at Zinkin, so we'll ask.
Yeah, give some guys a talking to. It'd be cool to get some other guys who are in the southern section their opinion, because I mean, from what I understand, that Masters tournament is a big grind. It's tough. Maybe it's draining. It's a draining 2 days. Maybe going to the 16-man bracket keeps guys a little bit fresher, a little bit less matches potentially. I don't know, but
It's a 1-day tournament. You can only get five matches anyways. Unless you have a bye.
In a 16-man bracket, that's fine because top 5 go to state. But with top 10 in a 32-man bracket, they use 2-day format.
Silly.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. I'm just scrolling through some of the comments. Yeah, we'll get some more feedback. I think as we get closer, maybe we'll pull someone on here.
Yeah.
And that's something we're kind of working on right now. Is we got some guys who want to hop on here and give their input, so on some different topics. So we'll work on it.
If you're listening and there's anybody that you think should come on, maybe tag them or leave a comment and let us know who you want to hear from. And then actually, Sean, I want to ask you one goofy question.
I've got a goofy question for you when you're done with your goofy question.
Okay, and then I don't want to talk to you anymore because it's 9:30 and
Perfect.
I'm tired. I want to wake up tomorrow. So my goofy question is: so jiu-jitsu, they have belts, right? Colored belts. Black being the best, white being new. How would you belt yourself if wrestling had belts?
Is black a world medalist level? Like you have to be at the world level to get black? Like what?
Well, how many black belts do you know jiu-jitsu? Are there black belts that there's like this black belt that's really good and knows what they're talking about, and this one that maybe isn't really that great.
No, yeah, there are. I've seen there's black belts that are like, you're like, this guy's been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time, but if we had to like go at it, I'm gonna smash him. So like, because you can learn, you can earn your, and every gym is different in jiu-jitsu, and this is just the political.
Because gyms can just be like, oh, well, we want to make you a black belt.
Right. And I mean, some gyms they they give belts based on time that you've spent on the mat, right? Oh, this guy's been training here for 12 years. Here's your black belt, right? You got a new belt every 3 to 4 years. Doesn't matter how well he competes at tournaments, doesn't matter if he competes at all. Maybe he's not a competitive guy, he doesn't compete at tournaments. It just depends. Now you might have other guys who are freaking really good at the sport. They're going out there, they're winning, Naga, they're winning IBJJFs, they're winning worlds, they're doing all that, and they get their belts a lot quicker, right? They've only been in the sport for a few years and they're already becoming a purple or a brown belt, right? And they're going to be black belts in the next couple of years. So it really depends. If I was going to just go on a wide scale, I would just be most comfortable giving myself a brown belt, which is next from black. I think that's fair because of the amount of time I've put into the sport. And I know there's a lot of guys out there who I'm sure could give it to me, put it to me. So
I'll get it to you.
except for Brian. But yeah, what would you give yourself?
If we're going like jujitsu standards, I think we're both black belts.
Yeah. If you went off
We
jujitsu,
technically kind of run our own jujitsu schools,
we run our own dojos, dude.
our own dojo.
Super sick.
Yeah, I give us both black belts, but like if I'm gonna be like super humble, I'd say yeah, I'm probably more of a blue belt.
Yeah. That was my answer.
Maybe blue or brown.
Also, my silly question is check out these shoes I'm gonna wear to practice tomorrow.
You're gonna hold them up and they're gonna be blurry.
No, they're not.
Okay.
But they're super sick.
Dude, did you have some Rudis?
They're one of my no, I don't have Rudis. I have not bought into the Rudises yet. These are old, man. These are 20. If those of you who don't know, I co-run the Instagram page Funky All Day, which is a shoe page for wrestling shoes. We've got a ton. Hit us up on Instagram. That's my plug.
For what? So like if I want to get my own shoe, do I just call you and you're gonna give me my own shoe? How does that work?
No, we have like hundreds of shoes for sale.
Are they like old shoes?
Yeah, old vintage wrestling shoes. Some are newer, some are older, some are used, some are brand new with tags. It just depends.
Do you have any in my size?
I've got all sizes, big dog, from
12 and a half?
14 down to 6.
Okay. We'll talk later. I might need
Anyways, so I'm wearing these tomorrow and they're so much fun to wear.
Oh, dude, I've seen those.
Yeah, these are
They're
the
just they're just aggressors, right?
yeah, they're the sissy aggressors. But dude, I just this is like one of my favorite shoes. They're freaking sick.
Yeah, so I have a pair of aggressors. I like them a lot. I have I think they're aggressor 4s, but dude, that's probably my favorite shoe. I've gone Adidas. So I did Adidas all through college.
Which I hated.
I don't mind. There's some good Adidas. The Matte Wizards, I didn't mind. I forgot the last pair that I had. But I'd wear a team shoe and I didn't have a problem with it. But aggressors were nice. I like a lot of the Rudis styles and like the feel of it once you break them in. My problem is I just have an awkward size foot. 12 and a half is a weird size. They have like 12 and they have 13.
Oh, they don't have a half size?
Nope. Rudis does not. But Asics does, Adidas does, and I think
Asics Asics doesn't have any half sizes at all?
Not when it gets to that point.
Oh, okay. So you can get it like because I'm anywhere from a 10 and a half to an 11, just depending. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get on the Rudis game here pretty soon. But yeah, I wanted to show you.
What's your favorite Rudis design right now?
The Toy Story ones that just came out, the classic 95s. Those are sick.
Were you born in 95?
Huh?
You were born in 96.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 95. I could get those shoes. I like the samurai ones. My only thing is like we could have a whole podcast on this. I mean, I know somebody who was pretty close. I know a couple guys that are pretty close to Dave Schultz, and I've read the book Musashi by I.J. Yoshikawa. It's a really good book. I might lend it to you. It's a pretty good book, but I don't think Dave Schultz would wear these shoes.
No, would not. 0 chance. He would wear black matte flexes.
He might. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, man. Or he would wear the Asics Dave Schultz, but yeah.
He would just wear his own shoe. He'd have his own shoe deal, and he could just design them.
Yeah. But
all right, man. Well, it's good talking to you.
Yeah, that was good. We got some good stuff in. Good luck this weekend. Kick some butt. I'm excited to talk about how we did after. And there's a lot of tournaments in the state of California this weekend and some really good college wrestling. So we got a lot to talk about when we come back.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to watch the duel on Sunday, because for some reason you just can't get the Big Ten Plus, even though you got a big boy job. Yeah, we can maybe watch it together. We can figure out how to do that.
Sounds good, big dog. I'll keep
All
you
right,
posted.
later, man.
Late.